question is actually extremely difficult to answer, because there are hundreds of factors influencing the decision of where to have a meeting. And it's so complicated to aggregate this data today manually that people are basing their decision of where to have a meeting purely on personal opinions. And that's where we thought, okay, we can do that better. So we can actually use big data and help travel managers and people who are organizing meetings and events to take an informed decision of where to have a meeting. So today we have built a big data analytics platform which aggregates thousands of data points around travel costs, visa requirements, carbon footprint, office location, security, a lot of different things. And just to give you an idea how that works, so basically you enter the numbers of travelers and the origin of the group, and then the system starts automatically to recommend potential meeting destinations. There's an algorithm looking at different data points, and it's a dynamic algorithm which actually changes with the origins you're entering and with the settings you're doing at trip creation. So after you have entered the origins, you have analyzed the trip, and that's how we present the data. So you can actually quickly compare what is the total cost of having the meeting in Boston versus Chicago? How many visas do I need if I have the meeting in Montreal? What's the carbon footprint if I go to Washington? So a lot of different things, a lot of different elements. And then you can actually go into each and every data point. You can go into the details. You can look at Boston. You can say, like, okay, how did the travel policy actually influence the flight selection? What is the meal cap, the security rating, the VAT claim potential? A lot of different things. You can actually really now simulate how you would run a meeting if you want to do it in Boston, over Chicago, over Washington, etc. But, well, here we have another video quickly. Then what you can do after you have kind of played around with the data points, you generate a report. The report is auto-generated by the system. It shows you the overview of all the key data points there per destination. Again, flight costs, hotel costs, numbers of stops, CO2, temperature, risk rating, a lot of different things. So you can quickly compare again there as well between the destination. And then actually it creates a kind of a one-pager with all the key information per destination. Everything done automatically. You see what are the hotels the system recommended, what are places to visit there in that place, what are events happening there, and actually then as well, how do the flights look like for the full group. But coming back to the initial question of 300 people from 35 different origins, is actually a real customer case. One of our customers based in the US came with this request to us. And the interesting thing here is that out of the 300 people, 60 people are based in Chicago. So the customer came to us and asked, okay, what's now the cheapest place to bring everyone together? We run it through the platform, and we actually found out that if they would have the meeting in Boston over Chicago, they could save more than $70,000 on the total cost. We thought that that doesn't make sense now. It's quite counterintuitive, because you would fly 50 people more to Boston than to Chicago. And as well on the hotel side, you would need 50 more rooms in Boston than to Chicago. So we said, let's look a bit deeper into the data. And we saw actually on the flight side, flying 290 people to Boston would be roughly $170,000 cheaper than flying 50 people less to Chicago. And we thought that's now completely ridiculous. So we actually dig further down into the data, and we found the reason for that, which is quite interesting. This company has a travel policy which says if a flight is longer than 6 hours, upgrade to business class. And apparently in this case, Boston was so well geographically located that only 29 people would be eligible to fly business class. Over Chicago, 135 people would fly business class. So the savings here on the flight cost compensated for the additional hotel cost, and then actually as well generate the savings on the total cost side. And then interestingly as well, even the carbon footprint here was more than 22% lower by flying more people to Boston. And it's basically 190 tons, which is equal to the annual carbon footprint of 47 people. And the reason there is when you fly in business class, your carbon footprint is higher because you consume more space on the airplane. So what we've realized now actually that we are on average generating savings of more than 40% for our customers by just playing a bit around with where they're going to have that meeting. And I wanted to actually go a bit further into the different products we are offering here, because we started with the first version, which is actually purely, mainly looking at Fortune 500 companies. So really large multinational companies with people all over the world having a lot of these meetings a year. But then we realized there's actually as well quite an interesting, or quite an interest from the travel management company side. So a lot of TMCs, mega TMCs, medium-sized TMCs reach out to us and ask whether we can provide a service which they can give to their customers. So that's the partner version which we've created, which is basically a very simple tool to use. But then another one, actually, we started to work with One World Alliance. So we saw, like, even from an airline alliance perspective or from an hotel group, we could limit certain parts of the data set to their offering and add all the other data points in there. So on the One World Alliance, what we are doing here actually is we are optimizing to find the best meeting place on the Alliance network. And we are able to actually show you the meetings and events discounts they are offering if you run or if you book through their webpage. And then this one is something, the marketplace concept is something we are testing with some very promising results. Actually, we say, like, or let's say differently. Our customers actually come to us after they've done the analysis and they ask us, okay, can you help us in the fulfillment? And then we say, like, no, we don't do fulfillment. But we have a network of partners who can do all kind of different things. We can sell you the visa services, the VAT claim potential, you can book your hotels, all these things. So what we are testing is connecting basically our information, our intelligence, what we have, to service providers in the industry. And the beauty here is actually that we sometimes know with 2 years in advance that a meeting is happening. And this information is very valuable for anyone who has a service to offer in this industry. And the last one, actually, this is still live development, so excuse the UX for that. But basically, we can use the same type of analysis on a local level. So imagine you want to have a meeting here, like what we are having here. Is this actually here the best place for all of us coming together? Considering that a lot of people flew in, some people are based here, I'm living outside of Madrid. So we could actually optimize this in terms of time, in terms of traffic, in terms of cost, carbon footprint, etc. So that's the next extension to the platform. I'm always very proud of the traction we got on the customer side, but after having heard at the beginning the discussion where they said, like, what was it, 50% of the Fortune 500 companies which existed in 2000 do not exist anymore, they're like, okay, maybe we should look as well at some other companies. But no, so today we have several really large multinational companies as paying customers. They bought licenses here. Just now as well getting travel management companies on board as paying customers. We have alliances as well, so quite a wide range of customers. And we have some strategic partnerships, just to mention here, with One World and Meetings.com. One thing is that we are providing the service for them. The other one is actually that we get their, like from One World, we get their meetings and events discounts into the analysis. And Meetings.com, for example, they provide us with meeting rooms, information, group bookings, facilities, etc. The last thing I'm always as well very proud of, these things we have won a number of awards, and I always like to mention it because none of us comes from the industry, so that's always great. When we started, we thought, like, well, apparently there's something of value what we are doing here. And the last award we won was the Focusrite Innovation Summit in Fort Lauderdale a couple of months ago. And yeah, and that's us, and happy to hear your questions. Thank you.